From claims that he's well past his best playing shape, to his painfully average availability record in the league, could it be that Kyrie Irving's out of his prime? A lot of analysts have been on his case, claiming Kyrie isn't the player he once was. It all started during his time in Brooklyn, where there were many ex-players and experts who kept on saying that Irving was finished. I have no idea how that idea came into being, and why it was even entertained by fans. Because one look at his statistics, and you'll realize Irving's been improving every single season since his first year in Boston. He peaked during his final year in Cleveland, scoring over 25 PPG for the first time in his career. That's the scariest version of Irving I've seen to date. Forget statistics. It was all fantastic shooting, and he passed the eye test with flying colors. My man's extra scary when he's feeling it, and for some reason, he's been unstoppable every time he's stepped onto the court. There are some analysts, namely Stephen A. Smith, who simply can't stand Irving. I don't have any idea why that's the case, but it is, and it's gotten so bad that fans feel it's personal at this point. Look, I'm talking about Kyrie the player, not Kyrie the person. And as far as his skills are concerned, I honestly don't think many other PGs can compete with him. He's a monster, for heaven's sake. Those handles, no one can match them in NBA history. So, the question to ask here is, why do people think Irving's experienced a drop-off in recent seasons, and he isn't what he once was? Well, part of the reason people think that is because of his off-court adventures, and fans simply don't take too kindly to what he's been up to off the court. Again, it shouldn't have any impact on how he plays the game, but what can I tell you? It does. In the modern era, it's become increasingly difficult to separate the art from the artist, and in the NBA, it's even harder. Irving's anti-Semitic activities, his nonsensical claims that the Earth's flat, and how secret societies rule the world, these things have changed people's perception of the former NBA champ. He doesn't get the same respect he used to get at one point in his career, with fans discounting his skill level, mainly because of the persona he's built around himself with these terrible takes. Think about it, this is the same player who sunk the shot over Steph Curry to seal the greatest comeback in NBA history. Yet, the way he's disrespected, you'd think he's a washed-up prospect. Narratives are as important as skill in today's world, and I don't completely agree with this mindset, but that's how the world works. Take LeBron's example. He's worked just as hard on building his PR as he's done on his fitness and legacy. Without his PR, he wouldn't be considered the GOAT, and Kyrie's got the short end of the stick in this very regard. Say what you want about him, but purely in terms of individual talent, Kyrie's only improved in recent seasons, and the reports of his downfall have been greatly exaggerated. Oh yes, take his last few seasons in isolation. Irving's averaging over 27 points since moving to Brooklyn to form that super team with Kevin Durant. Even after leaving the Nets, Kyrie's numbers hovered around the 27 PPG mark, playing for a depleted Dallas side, which featured an injured Luka Doncic for half of the 2022-23 campaign. Are these the numbers of a player who's regressed? No way, sir. These are career bests for Kyrie. And even in terms of shooting percentage, Irving's career average is just over 47% from the field. But in his last 4 campaigns, the ankle taker's averaging over 48.5%. That's not normal, folks. I'm sure some analysts will diss him for his shooting from beyond the arc, but that's also so freaking unfair. When you've averaged nearly 40% from the range for your career and then come up with 2 campaigns of above 40% shooting in your last 4 seasons, you deserve all the respect in the world. These numbers are insane by every stretch of the imagination, and he's actually added more to his game, coming up with more rebounds and bettering his assist-making numbers in the process too. Kyrie the player is still operating on never-seen-before levels, and the NBA should be proud of having a player of his quality in their ranks. The fans should cherish him, and the analysts need to cut him loose, cause this is greatness. Although, there's no smoke without fire, and that's true in Kyrie's case as well. Cause even with all this improvement, Mr. Fourth Quarter's overall career trajectory has slowed down. I mentioned the shot, which remains Kyrie's greatest achievement, right? He made it over Steph, and that's a player he was compared with throughout his career. Both players had 1 championship to their name by the end of 2016, but with Irving leaving the Cavaliers to become the biggest star on a roster, he also left behind his legacy. that Irving was competing for championship season in, season out, but leaving Cleveland was the worst decision he's ever made. He got his wish, with Boston putting him in charge of their franchise, but in 2 seasons with the Celtics, Kyrie couldn't come up with what everyone expected him to do. In the same time, Curry added 2 more championships to his name, making a mockery out of everyone who dared to compare him to the former Cavs. PG, a disappointed Irving, was confused after another disappointing season in Boston, and so he immediately said yes to Kevin Durant's offer of creating a super team in Brooklyn. It was the opportunity of a lifetime, and Kyrie believed he really needed another star alongside him to challenge for championships. The Nets front office was very ambitious, and they sold the project to another superstar, James Harden, with the rest of the NBA in shock. Considering all the talent the Nets had got together in Brooklyn, they were everyone's favorites for the title, and anything less than 2 or 3 championships was considered a failure for that team. But that didn't happen. In fact, the Nets even failed to make it out of the East, and that's where Irving's legacy took another blow. Individual skills fantastic and very much respected in a star-driven league like the NBA, but you get judged very harshly if you can't win with super teams. Look at what's happened to Durant. People have ripped into him because all he's ever done is play with tremendous support around him, yet he's never won a ring without Steph. Fortunately for Irving, he gets away with a lot because, let's be honest, that Celtics team was pretty freaking good too. Not winning with that team, and then Boston making the NBA Finals and experiencing more success after Irving left, damaged his reputation as a playoff beast. Based on all these things, it's fair to say that someone as good as the ankle taker should have a much bigger legacy in the playoffs and the NBA in general. 1 ring to show for possibly the greatest pair of handles, and trickery straight from the devil himself. It won't cut it. But it's been bad decision after another for the controversial superstar, because the move to the Mavericks was painfully stupid. I don't know if the players actually watch other teams play, as anyone who watched the 2022-23 Mavs would tell you that they had plenty of holes in their roster, but the biggest one was not having a defense. What do? They signed Kyrie to form a devastating duo of Doncic-Irving, which actually made them worse, and the Mavs finished outside of even the play-in tournament. Kyrie averaged 27 points in the 20 games he played for Dallas, and he isn't to blame for their shortcomings, but agreeing to a move to Dallas just before free agency was a stupid decision. He could have waited for the Lakers to come in free agency, and he would have been granted his wish to play alongside LeBron in LA. That didn't happen. And if you ask the Lakers, they'll tell you they dodged a bullet. Because have you seen Kyrie's availability record in the last few seasons? Oh, it's bad! The man's played more than 50 games twice since leaving Boston, and hasn't played 70 since his final year in Cleveland. It's not even all down to injuries, because Irving's controversial takes have landed him in hot water, with suspensions and a ban because he didn't take the vaccine during the pandemic-shortened season. Everyone has the same opinion about him when he's playing for your team. There aren't many better PGs, but when he isn't in the starting lineup, he's a liability. For all the good work he does on the court, you can't discount availability, because at the end of the day, availability's your best ability, isn't it? So, from a poor record in terms of games logged to claims he's well past his best playing shape, that was why many believe that Kyrie Irving's out of his prime.